This is Pastor Troy. I hope you're doing well. We are wrapping up season 2, but you know what that means? The best of season 2. Here it comes. It's coming right at you in just a minute, but don't worry. We're in the studio. We're getting ready. We're getting things lined up, and very soon we'll be unveiling season 3 of On the Dock. In the meantime, you can go back, watch season 1. Check it out. It is fantastic. It's not outdated. Go catch it. And now we're in season 2, and get ready for this best of season 2 episode. Someone out there give me an amen. Got those tickling keys. You can just hear Dustin Griffin all over that. On the dock.org, Pastor Troy here. You want to get out here with us every Tuesday and Thursday? Check us out. We got episodes dropping everywhere. Conversations that will propel your faith out of the shallows and into the deep. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Facebook, Roku, Rumble, and SermonNet. And then engage us on 5 social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter. And when you find us, tell other people, subscribe, hit like, notify, comments. We just want you to help us make this thing go contagious and viral. Right? Beth's tapping me. She thinks I've lost it. I ate those bugles. Those bugles charged me up. I was hungry. I'm so hungry. Been hungry. I got up hungry today.
This is not an ad for bugles.
They didn't pay for that spot. So if you're, yeah, they were good though. They were fresh.
We should come up with an alternative to bugles called Shofars.
Can I say Shofars, a Christian alternative
For the Pentecostal.
Bugles were one of the things. Bugles, those tasted good here. When I had COVID in 19, after that I had all kinds of phantom smells. Then somewhere about 4 or 5 months later, while we were on that retreat in Branson, things began to taste bad to me. And bell peppers on that retreat, I made an egg dish. Made those. The Italian we bake it frittata. And I thought the bell peppers had gone skunky because I was eating a couple of them raw. That was when that started happening. Coffee began to taste skunky. Roasted peanuts. Bugles tasted like garbage to me. I don't know something in a lot of things that are roasted, skin roasted chicken did, roasted stuff on the grill. The barbecue that I did tasted horrible. And for about a year, it was like that. And then I've gotten almost everything back except for green peppers. But I did have bugles back a few months ago, and they still tasted a little off. And I ate those bugles, and they tasted like bugles. So praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Da-da-da. I got a healing.
Praise God from all who bugles.
Yeah. From whom all bugles flow. So I got a healing from bugles. Go to my Patreon and be a partner. So if you're a Bugles representative, we'd love to have you as a partner or sponsor on the show. Or if you want to be a partner or sponsor, go to my Patreon on the Dock with Pastor Troy. Find out more about it. Give us a call, and we'll talk about your product incessantly. And even nobody paid us to talk about that one. On the dock.org, go find us out. Find our platforms, our all of our places where we are. You can find out how to link up to those things, and you can email us at info@onthedock.org if you want to know more. I've got my set partner today, my partner in life, Mother Beth Benetone. To my right. How you doing, Mother Beth?
I'm doing great, honey.
She keeps tapping me on the arm like, he's going to be okay. He's going to come unglued. He's about done. It's okay, honey. And I've got in the studio again my Techno Wizard Executive Director, Lucas Winkler, on camera and on mic.
Hello.
We still don't have enough money for him to have a mic, but we don't have a 4th person today, so he gets one. So we could use your partnership, my patron. Yeah, got lucky. You get to hear your voice. Plus, we need you as a 3rd co-host because we don't have a 3rd co-host today. So you got to carry water and push buttons. So Lucas can do it. He can do it. He's very tough. He's a strong man.
Oh yeah.
You mean this?
He's been lifting
water.
Yeah, this water. Yeah, the water. See, that's what I don't do. That's why I'm so weak. I hate water. I would only drink water if some water company were to sponsor our show.
Well, just don't let it be Pepsi because their water's terrible.
Let me just say this to you. I will say up front.
What's their water?
Clear. What is it called?
Crisp and clear.
Crisp and clear. I want to be honest.
Crap.
We love you, the Crisp family. You do wonderful things for our region. We thank you for all your partnership, and we thank you. If you will donate Pepsi products to us, we will be talking
Yes.
so good about you.
Just not the water.
But we're
Not
not
the water.
promoting your water.
Not the water.
No,
just
We're not
the
promoting
water.
your water. We have a hard
Pepsi.
time giving it away. You've donated it to us for events,
been
and
clear.
it sticks around forever.
It's like stale and tainted.
Yeah, it's rough. It's
Yeah,
rough.
the Pepsi.
At
We'll
least
take all
filter
the
it.
Pepsi.
At least filter it. Something, because it's coming right out of Crab Lake or in Lake, whatever it is. But it just doesn't work for me.
No.
So we're in trouble now. We will not be getting a Pepsi sponsorship anytime soon. So Lucas will have to wait on borrowed mics. So
We could start a whole business model. We could start holy water and shofars.
that way, you got an idea. We may have to do that.
I'm just saying.
We got on. He's moved from the host seat. He's been my co-host for a lot of these shows on Southern Worship Leaders. But we've got him in the seat to wrap up this series, episode 24, 25, 26. In this 29, it's going to actually be a 29. Let me see. I think when it's done, it's like almost like, golly, it's like 4,000. Let me go look at my notes here real quick here. I'm sorry, folks. I got to figure it out. Now, yeah, when we're done, there'll be 29 episodes of this whole super series. This is a Worship Leaders Southern Super Series 2, and Ben is the last guy to go. He's pulling anchor. So he's been a part of all the interviews. Now we're going to interview him today and kind of hear his take on it. But in the end, on the next episode, we're going to kind of pull everything together and put a lasso around it and get ready for a big finale for this show with something special coming up. So we got Ben back on the set, worship leader at Community Faith Church, our host church here, and where I also serve as pastor. We serve together as co-pastors here at Marion, and Ben has his special. Look at this picture. Yeah, it's not your regular show pack picture, because when you're a show coach, you get a crappy one like all of us. But here we got your artist picture.
Oh yeah, Amanda snuck in there too.
Yeah, Amanda gets.
on the worship
Somebody
team.
needs to tell Amanda she needs to be a patron sponsor for getting her dressage up there. So she's in there as well. So part of our worship team, one of our worship leaders.
Excellent,
her and her
excellent
husband
choice
are
of shirt in that picture.
Absolutely, y'all are all denimed out there. It looks very cool. We learned in the last episode you're married, got 2 kids.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see if I can find a picture of those kids, because they're my favorite. Yeah, I like them better than you.
I don't blame you.
No, I do. I like them both. I think Zion is smarter. She's smart and she is beautiful, and she is probably my personal favorite. But Luca is just a little genius.
Oh, dude.
You know, he's got his hair short now, but he's got some long hair. He's got some butch cat. He's got some like 80s hair going on retro right now.
I love those kids.
But they are very, very. Luca is so smart. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's smart, and he's still good. He's not become sinister yet. So we're trying to keep him on the good side of the Justice League.
Smart guys can be
He
good.
loves
He's
the
fallen in love
Lord.
with math.
He loves math. I know he does. He told me
At
he was doing.
bedtime the other day, I'm putting him to sleep, and I'm like, you got to get him to. Takes a while to get him to calm down.
How
Stop
old
talking.
How old is Luca?
He's 6.
Okay, I'm gonna point out why he's a genius, because number one, it takes one to know him.
Oh, yeah.
It takes one to know him.
Yeah.
Secondly, when he told me the other day, he says we're in the foyer of the church, we're just hanging out together, and he says I love math, and he was telling me stuff. I said, okay, so do you know math? He said, I know my multiplication tables. I said, okay, I'm gonna ask you one. I want to know what's 4 times 4, and he said 16. And he didn't hesitate. He didn't take the shoes off. He didn't do anything I'd have to do. So he said 16. And I said, well, that's great. A lot of people can memorize that stuff. Tables, most people are like trained chumps. They learn the tables and they just remember the tables. And they gotta go.
Yeah.
And I said, how do you know 4 times 4 is 16? He said, well, 2 4s is 8. 2 8s is 16. Or 4 4s is 16. I said, son, you got this figured out. He could not only tell me the times table, he could explain to me why it was what it was.
Yeah.
And then I know
His brain works.
I've been telling
Yeah.
Beth a long time. He's way smarter. He's maybe one of the smartest kids in our church. So.
Yeah.
Literally at bedtime the other night, he loves math so much he just thinks about it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get him to calm down, and he's finally about to conk out, and he goes, "Dad," I'm like, "Wait, what's up, buddy?" And he's like, "Do you know what 8 plus 6 is?"
Yeah, he's bi-tracking. He's bi and triple and quad tracking. He's working stuff, So I mean, what I like about him is he reminds me a lot of me. He's got high energy. He can go till sundown, but part of that is he is so bored by life that he's analyzing at a high speed.
Yeah.
He is like Mr. Spock on
he's
on this.
something else.
He's gonna be fun to watch him go. I've got big bets on him that he's gonna make more money than all of us.
I'm counting on that.
He'd be like a NASA scientist. I had a friend like him that was real smart like him. He works for NASA and makes more money than we can talk about. He does rocket stuff, They
Sure.
shoot the rocket and they know the thing's going to be here. Well, I don't know. I look around for it. This guy
just
knows.
trig.
Yeah, they shoot it where it's not going to be. Yeah, it's a trig. Yeah. So you're involved. We talked about in the first session, Cedar Sessions. Your worship leader here, married, got 2 kids, happily married. Wife's involved in the Mosaic Initiative. Mm-hmm. You've been traveling and stuff. So go watch session 1. Tell what's your family's favorite thing to do? Give us something on your family. What's y'all's favorite as a family? You just want to go do something together. What is something you all like to go do?
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
Yeah, we like getting ice cream.
I like that. Your kids, Zion, she loves deer. She was telling me her food. She loves to eat deer.
She does. Not just like deer noodles. No. I will cook her up a medium rare backstrap.
If you know me, I'm a very prolific cooker. I'm a meat connoisseur. I'm a barbecue champion. Just this week, Ben brought me over. He's been using the walk-in to age deer, and I've never aged deer. I love aged beef. Beth and I'll go places and eat 30, 40-day aged steaks. I've eaten 120-day aged steaks, 90. I brought them back from Chicago, and I like that. I love that experience. But he said, can I borrow the walk-in to aged deer? I'm like, why would you age deer? I mean, I just didn't work in my brain. So he'd been aging this deer for about 14 days, and they were butchering it down, him and Shane, one of our other worship leaders in the church, and brought me over and said, come over and cook a piece of it. So I cooked a piece with them the other night, right while they're there 2 ways. And I have to tell you, number one, you wouldn't know it was deer. When I brought it back home to you, you wouldn't know it's deer. And it just had a luxurious flavor to it. So, I mean,
tops.
I was wrong.
That was an old deer, too. She was an old girl.
I didn't know that.
She was old.
I remember you said it was big, so that says even more. Yeah. If you can do that, you would have no clue it was deer. Here's the other thing: is we were talking about now. If you take that piece of meat and sous vide it, golly, and no telling what you get. So you got. I mean, you got a daughter who just thinks deer is the best meat, and now I understand why, because she gets nothing but aged deer.
But the best.
You're doing a great job with that. I'm just amazed. I got 2 pieces now. I'm excited about cooking. So I was like, I'm not sure, but I ate it last night, took it home and thought, man, that's really good. So you've got some skill sets there. Did you win the bow competition in the church?
I did.
He's a bow shooter. He and then Shane can also shoot bows.
Shane's the man. I never would have picked up archery and hunting if it wasn't for Shane. Shane opened my eyes to that whole.
And the 2 of you were like 1 and 2.
That whole world.
Yeah, Padawan there. And so this guy won our Camp COF bow shooting competition. And man, he just brings he's tough on the Bambies. Please don't write Les if you don't like that. Just send all the information to Ben Ottolini at COFchurch.org. If you're mad about him killing Bambi, write him, call him, all that stuff.
We can have a conversation.
But I'll be honest with you, he stocks his family refrigerator, and that's what they eat and live off of. So yeah, I think I would consider it quite sustainable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. Very responsible and very respectful. So, all right, we're getting to this show. Part 2, we're going to get a little bit into the works of your work as a worship leader. We're trying to school people. If people out there that want to be a worship leader, they're sitting in a maybe they're in a youth worship team, or they're drumming somewhere, or they're thinking about coming up. We're trying to give them some tools in these episodes to see what it's like to be a worship leader, what's expected, what different methodologies. But also, if you're out there and you're just a person in the pew, we want you to see what's going on behind, like what's happening behind the making of the worship on Sunday. Because even though Ben's probably one of the most relaxed, comfortable, pure worship, sacred moment, step up there and just bare his heart, there's still stuff that has to happen to get to that moment in preparation and practices and picking songs and stuff. And every artist does it differently. Some are working months ahead, some are working hours ahead. We'll find out about your stuff in this episode. So let's start with our first question, Mr. Ben. In leading and working, let's talk about your process of working with your lead pastor. I don't know who your lead pastor is, but what's it look like for you? I mean, I can tell what it is, but what's it look like for you as you kind of work together to either plan out a service or a series, or the focus on where you're going? What's your input? What's your part in that?
I mean, my perception is we pretty much just trust one another to that like, you know what I mean? I mean, if there's something specific that we need to talk about, there's a certain direction that you want to take things, we talk about it. But I feel like for the most part, we just kind of trust each other.
I stepped on the platform this last Sunday, and the Lord had really, in the back, I was prayer walking and had a really good word. His wife, Haley, was also co-leading. She was leading a song. Something she said spurred me, and I came up, and when I got a spot, I jumped in and just shared my heart. And what it reminded me of was a song that we did. We were talking about the obsession with God, being obsessed with God or intimate with God, and I thought of that song. How God, what was the song? Reckless love of God. Yeah. That God's got a reckless love chasing after us, and I said we need to just turn around and be obsessed and run back into His arms. Quit running. So I just showed this. God showed me this image that we just need to stop and turn around and run back into His arms because He's chasing us. All we have to do is turn around and run into His arms, and He wants us. So I got up and shared that, and I said, it reminds me of that song. And as I turned around, I said, I'm not going to ask you guys to play that because I know they all panic sometimes when I get up and God has a song in my mind thinking He's going to make us play that, and we're going to look terrible and all that. And I looked around, and everybody on the platform was grinning and smiling because it was in the worship set for just fixing to come up. And I had no idea. And that's where what's cool to trust is that the Holy Spirit talks. And that's one thing I like about it. We do that, but we also do some planning. So
sure.
Yeah. So like we're doing a series now. We planned kind of for the new year, but we had a Psalm series that we're going to wrap up that was supposed to go all summer. It went up all summer and all fall and took some breaks. And we're fixing to go back to something we're going to finish up there. But then we're already talking about a series for the Lenten season, something around some sort of theme about resistance, helping people resist. So we do a little bit of development, talk together.
Yeah, it's chill.
Okay, what does it look like? Okay, so you get the idea. We're having a service say Sunday, and what's it look like? How are you picking music? How are you deciding? You've got different leaders. You aren't the only one that leads here. You choose other leaders. You give them ample time. Sometimes you move to the drums, and sometimes you just whatever. You might be leading worship for some other church because they got somebody on medical leave, and you've got good. Tell us about your process of picking and selecting music and stuff.
Well, there isn't much of one. Sometimes I'll plan a week or 2 or 3 weeks in advance, but usually it's like 1 week.
1 week.
I just try to kind of cycle people in, different leaders in, as much as I can.
Keep them fresh. Get them developing.
Yeah, and give other leaders opportunities to.
And you can let somebody.
Take
what I love about you is you can let somebody else lead, whether it's the service or song, and still play guitar on the platform, or move back to the drums.
Well, it's not about me. Leading.
No, but there's a lot of worship leaders that do not and will not do that. They might co-lead. They may have a female co-host and rotate songs a little bit, but that's only because they're trying to get different voices. But you don't see a lot that will be the worship leader, but that will hand it over to Shane and Amanda and say, "You're leading today. I'm just going to be your guitar backup."
Yeah,
you don't see a lot of that in the worship world because that world seems to be a lot about me, and that's not your style at all, which is cool.
Well, I mean, if you don't give other people opportunities to lead, then how are you going to raise up other leaders?
Right, exactly, and have the confidence in them, and you do have the confidence in them, What's great is when you're not here, they have confidence. Like when Jane led and the power went out, he's our most junior guy that would lead worship, and he just unplugged and put acoustic on and went on and led like you would. So they've picked up that ethos because you've given them room to live in that ethos. I think that's really good thing. Yeah. So you're picking songs, you're putting them out. Are you putting them out? Lucas putting them out? I know Lucas is your.
Yeah, I usually will message whoever else who might lead a song is going to be on the schedule for that week or whatever. And hey, is there any songs you want to do?
So if somebody's going to take the lead, there's a song you'd like to lead. Yeah. Say Donna Kranuski, she's on our group, or somebody else, and if they want to throw a song out, you're going to be open to that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'll try to work that in, and then I try to get songs picked at least a week in advance, but frankly, sometimes it's the day. Sometimes it's the day before.
The only person in this church that doesn't get the song that they want is my wife. She asked for holy water for about 2 years.
We did give it to her.
Eventually. Yeah. She was so happy when she finally got it. That was the whole movement.
It's not my vibe.
I know. Wrong song for you. You got to find a better genre.
Sorry,
well, she didn't care whether you sang it or not, but
I worked hard at that too. I mean, I worked hard.
She tortured everybody.
And I don't do that.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we did play it. We did.
No, but I enjoyed.
Jaden loves that.
It was nice to see.
It's a great song.
It's a good song.
It was nice to see somebody put her in her place. Finally.
Nah, I thoroughly enjoyed harassing you. It was great.
I take no offense, and I hope you don't take any offense.
I don't at all. It was fun.
See, we're all family here.
She didn't care. She just went to 3 other churches those weeks to get it. She was stepping out on us.
I'm going to Cornerstone.
Yeah, I'm going to Cornerstone.
They'll do holy water.
They'll do holy water, right? that Dustin Keel, he'll do it. You know, he's our buddy. That's why she was kissing up to him when he was in here.
He probably loves that
Yeah,
song.
he sees Mother Beth's in the house. She's here for Community Faith Church because that worship pastor won't give her holy water.
It's a good song, but no.
Are you moved on? Do you have anything new? While we're on air, is there anything you want him to play now? You got anything
No.
new?
Well,
I'd
I'm
like.
not usually about that.
I got to send him the Chan one on the fear.
Yeah, but you can't duplicate stuff like that.
I know you can't, but I'd love to do all those songs again, though. I'd like to try.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's so good. I got to send it to you later, but
Yeah.
you got to have 3 hours to watch
Yeah,
it.
you got to watch it.
All right.
I have some drives.
It's
Well, you know, when you think about worship leading, part of your role that you do so well is development. I don't think all the worship leaders we've had in here have had that in their mind like you do. You have a role to get the songs picked, to get the team on the platform, but you seem to have as much work, and I know Lucas does this as well in his work, is in communications and doing all that and kind of communicating with the team and building his creative arts team. You have a role of really thinking about how to develop your people and putting them in positions to develop and letting them take some risks and try a song. Somebody that's like, for example, Jaden on the platform, a young guy on the platform who probably wasn't singing 2 years ago and did a little bit of singing and now he's actually leading worship services. Mm-hmm. So, and if you knew Jaden's kind of a quiet person, but he's really gifted. And tell us about your concept, your thought on that, on developing leaders. You're one of the few guys that can really be away from here. When you went to India, you were gone for quite a while. Nobody missed you. I mean, that's good. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a good thing because worship was, you were here, your spirit was here.
right. Nobody was saying, "Oh gosh,
Oh God, when's Ben going to get back?" You know?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, when he came back, we were all bummed.
Right.
Right? No. I wasn't, but I mean, she was because she couldn't get her holy water. She knows holy water's gone. You know. But tell us about your mentality there and the role of a worship leader in developing the ethos of a team.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not as intentional as it may appear. I mean, it's really just I want other people to grow, and honestly, I could probably be a little bit more structured in, like being intentional and at trying to, raise up other leaders and things. But at the end of the day, I think I try to do my best to lead by example like I do for the congregation. And if I see potential in someone, I'm going to, give them opportunities to step out. And if they're hesitant, I may push them a little bit from time to time. Like some people need to be nudged a little bit into a certain direction. Maybe there's shyness or
But I don't think a
something
lot
like that.
Okay,
But
I've watched this for years, and you're very patient with it because
it's a process.
Okay, say you push a young person out, and they're going to lead their first song. Mm-hmm. They're not leading the whole worship service, but you're going to put them out on a song, or you're going to put them as a co-vocal, or at least a strong vocal. But if you put them out and you give them their own song, and they go out there and do that song, and to be honest with you, there are some of those when you've done that. I just have to close my eyes and worship and go, "Thank you, Lord, help us get through this. It's rough." And in practice, I heard them sing it, and they were on. But when they get in with the crowd out there, you can tend to push your voice sharp or flat. Your nerves come on you.
Oh, yeah.
The room's different. You got lights on. Lucas has got the whole show going on.
Yeah.
Somebody's talking in your ear.
Yeah, a little mouse came up on stage
Yeah.
and messed with your in-ear mix.
And then
Or Bo walked
people's voices. Lucas produces like albums and stuff for people. But people, when they get nervous, do their verses go sharp or flat, or is it more one way or another?
It's not always the same way.
But it's not. But like an American Idol, you would hear that with people. In American
What's
Idol.
funny for me too, because I feel like I am more comfortable and I sing better and perform better live than I do
because
when
you
I'm
don't know anybody. Because you don't know anybody's there. You don't care. You don't know anybody's there. But most people aren't like you. Most people aren't just doing their only communion, having a sandwich with God. That's you. You're able to do that. That's why you're so good. But somebody else is like, oh my God, I'm doing this thing, and now they're looking at me, so they tense up, and the voice goes sharp or flat, and so the song is like off a half step or half key, or whatever,
100%.
And we get through it, and I'm like, oh, okay, and then I think, whew, and I'll go home with Beth and go, man, I hope we don't have to hear that for a few weeks, and then but you'll come back in a few weeks, let them work through it, and then they're back up. I go, oh my, in Jesus' name, pray for them, and next thing you know, well, that's pretty good. And then next thing you know, you got him leading 2 songs. Like, what's he lost his mind? He's got him leading 2 songs. We got to do 2 of these. And then they just start killing it. You know what I mean? Because what's happened is you have risked this where a lot of people might have shut them down on that and go, well, they got performer anxiety. What you've done is push through that and let them just start worshiping.
Yeah.
They've kind of got past themselves, past the stage, got over the fear, and like...
You experience some freedom.
Jaden's an example of somebody who has a voice, the most beautiful tenor voice I've ever seen in a young man. Just, it's a piercing voice. And as he got more comfortable, he is just able to rip it now. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he won't have his moments in the future. We all do. But I've watched him grow in the last 2 years to being just stellar. I mean, and that he's I'm using him as an example, but I could do that for almost anybody you used in the past. I could pick any of the girls and kids you've used and different people. It just you're very patient with that. And you're willing to work with people, and I've noticed that you give them a little bit of a break, and then you kind of work this. I don't. It seems like
I don't want to push anyone to do something that they don't. I mean, if they're like not passionate about it, and they don't care about it, but if somebody cares about something and it's something that they're like legitimately, like they're passionate about worship.
Let's be honest. I consider everybody on the platform able to play on any Sunday, and I'm just very comfortable with them. But when you're bringing some of them up in development, maybe a year, 2, 3 years ago, I'd be like, Mm-hmm. But when you were gone, I was like, oh, okay, who cares? In time that works. And there are a lot of churches out there. I mean, Lucas gets around more than I do to churches these days. I'm stuck here. But there are a lot of churches, when they hear that one-off voice, they're like, lose their number. They're not singing again. This big church is like, no, that's not happening. There are a lot of churches out there wouldn't even let them on the platform again. Mm-hmm. Or like, take the microphone away. You've got a development theory. So now you've got, I'm thinking on the platform Sunday, we had a huge team, but you could lead.
Me, Haley, Shane, and Amanda, and
they could all lead. Jane, there were 5 of you that could have led the worship service. Yeah. Somebody could have shot 4 of y'all, and we could keep going.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And still had a great band around it. And as long as they don't get Lucas, we could put some MIDI on. We were in good shape. So, think about that. We're a small church where you've got 5 guns on the stage right now. It's really cool. And to be honest with you, you've got a couple more junior guns coming to church here now that you've just started putting on stage some. And we don't know what'll develop with them, and they're new to our body and stuff. But I can already see you're already working on the next crop.
Sure.
In some ways. And there'll be others out there, but I just think that's a unique skilled talent. And I think our church is really encouraging of people, and they labor through that with people, and they have seen the product of that enough that they don't get I don't think the church gets it. I watch them give encouragement to people and go like, I'm not sure I'd encourage that. If I'm Simon Cowell, you're not going to Hollywood, you know what I mean? And they're going like, no, you're going to Hollywood. We see it in you. So you've built a congregation that's that believes in what you're doing. And your pastor trusts you too. So I've seen the product. It's just, like a lot of churches. Lucas, how many churches do you know that are production type churches would do some of that stuff?
Oh, a lot of churches would. They're embarrassed.
They would not put up with that.
Right.
They would be like, we'll let you sing that maybe on a Tuesday night with nobody in the room, and you do about 24 of those, and we'll think about it. Yeah,
but then it's like you're telling people you're not worthy to worship God.
Yeah, but you don't hear people that are terrible leading, though.
No, don't get me wrong. There's a line.
Right.
But usually people, if you give them a chance, usually they're self-aware enough.
But you've already seen that they can do it. It's just you got to get the atmospherics right. Yeah. So the fact that you put them up there, they can. Though they were flat or sharp this week because they're nervous, you just know that takes experience.
Yeah, it just takes time.
And the only way you get experience is give them some experience.
Exactly.
Exactly. And if anybody should be
patient. Same thing with like prophetic worship and like singing in the spirit and like just singing spontaneous songs.
Listen,
it's like if you don't ever take risk to do those things,
you don't get anything.
Yeah.
But all of the apostles were bumbling idiots when they worked for Jesus. They couldn't find food. They couldn't figure this out. He lectured them. He got mad at them. They couldn't do nothing right. And every one of these guys died as great martyrs when it was all said and done, or did great things for God, because he let them work it out. Mm-hmm. Jesus worked through the pains with them. He
saw the potential.
He saw the potential in them. He knew that Peter one day would feed his sheep. Yes, he screwed up. Yes, he had to ask him 3 times, but in the end, Peter was the rock of the church. Jesus saw that, and you do a great job of seeing potential in people and causing the church to see potential. in people as well. And I think it's a great gift, because even when you're long gone, there'll be people leading worship, whether they're here or they can move on to other churches. That'll be a part of you're doing Bill Bandy with some of those people. So that legacy is coming out, and I've got people that have gone in the ministry under my time. They're preaching today in places, and I even forget about some of them from time to time. I've tried to pray for them, but then I run across somebody who says, "Yeah, so and so says you sent them out in the Lord." Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I need to be praying for them. So legacy is important.
Yeah.
And you're creating a lot of legacy here, and you're doing a great job with that. So I think it's a philosophy, though.
Well, thanks.
I think it's a philosophy, and like Lucas says, I don't think it's a philosophy that every church would embrace that fast.
No.
I just don't. I just don't really think about it.
No,
Right.
No, you don't, because I know, and I thank God for that.
I don't know.
No, and you're not. And I don't think you don't expect talent. That's not the case at all. I think you see the diamond in the rough, and you're willing to work to get it.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's just fantastic. So part of your work is, don't you think part of the work, this is the question, part of the work of a worship leader is to develop a team?
Yeah.
Not just the team that's on the stage,
Totally.
but the team that'll lead the stage a year, 2, 5, or down the road. Mm-hmm. Or should you decide to stay in India? Mm-hmm. And it gives you the freedom to do that. I think it's good. Tell us a little bit about some things that would help people in the pews understand how they can enhance their worship better. I know you sit up there, and I know you're really good at just being in communion. You probably don't notice this a lot. Maybe you notice it when you come out of it and go, man, they're all looking at me. I thought we were all doing this together. What are a couple things you could coach people on? Step out of your worship leader role from leading, but step out and now look from when you're maybe not the worship leader. What are some things you can help people come in the room ready to? Your words in the first one was, worship is sacred to me, no matter worship is pure. It's a sacred relationship, and no matter what's going on, you just want to lock your eyes on Jesus and have communion with him. What are some things you could do to help people out here do that with you, or in their own process of worship? Some coaching tips. Because not everybody's doing that. I know you don't notice it, but not everybody's doing it.
I know. Yeah, I know.
So how would you help them bring glory to God in their own way and become a part of that wave, so to speak? What are some things they could do, prep themselves, be a part of, be aware of, that will help them kind of get in that time of wanting to be intimate?
Yeah, I mean, well, definitely taking time to kind of do that on your own at home is.
So if you're going to coach somebody to be intimate here in church, you're going to say, first of all, they need to be having that own kind of intimate time in some of their private devotional life.
Well, I think you have to be comfortable doing it. Like, you have to be, like, it has to be normal, like,
Right.
to be able to move into that space.
Right.
So if you only do it once a week, like,
you're only once a week.
like
good.
you're only going to show up once a week to, this is my time to be intimate with God. I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, I think that I think let me rephrase the question. If we were going to coach people to have intimacy in worship, your first thing is begin in your private worship life. Mm-hmm. Begin at home.
Yeah.
Begin at home.
And I'll be the first to admit that that's a struggle for me too. I mean, it's not like I'm not this perfect guy who has an hour of worship.
Well, you've got 2 young kids and a young wife and another job, and that, I mean, that's I've been there. It's a challenge, Sure. It's easier now when your kids are all grown up and there's nobody around the house, and I can have an hour and a half devotion and nobody bothers you at all, and you got 6 other bathrooms in the house, so nobody even asks for the bathroom. Mm-hmm. So you've got privacy. You got a place you can be alone.
Yeah.
And that's different. When I was yours, there was somebody screaming. Somebody ran over my toe, and Dad, come do this. Mom's like, you need to come whip one of your boys. They're in trouble. So you've got that challenge now, but still you're able to engage that.
Yeah.
So number one, begin at home. What would be your next thing to coach? Your second tip, so they can get intimate with God here, they got to start at home. What's next? What's number 2?
Gosh, I don't know. I feel like so much of it I talked about in that last one. Like,
oh, you want me to give pure? You want me to give that? I'm not telling you what you said. This is all about you leading in, all about you intimacy. How do you get them to do it though?
I don't know. You just do it.
I mean, you got to be. I think one of the things that I would say, for you, if I were in your seat answering it, if you've got to begin at home, then when you get here, you also got to be here. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people struggle being here, but when you're here with God. I think you're here looks just like it would be for you privately. You're in communion.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're in communion alone or here, you're still in communion.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, when they get here, you're already here. You're dialed in, but they're trying to catch up to you, and maybe they don't catch up to you, or right at the end they go, "Wow, that was good. And I'll live through his." But I think for me, people got to be here.
Yeah.
Mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Okay, let's use the intimacy thing. If you want to be intimate with your marital partner and your wife, it does help her be more attracted to you if you're actually present in the moment of intimacy.
You have to recognize that it's not about
just
you.
physically present, but you need to be mentally and emotionally present, right?
Yeah.
Right, because if your wife says, you're not into this really, you're watching a football game, or you wish you weren't here, that's not going to be good for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I think God is the bride, groom, we're the bride. I think it's the spiritual factors are the same. God wants us to be present and available.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not about what you can get from this intimate exchange, but it's like the priority is giving him glory. Is
absolutely.
Worshiping him and and in that process of, just forget about everybody else in the room for a minute. Forget that Joe Schmo is looking at you, and close your eyes if you have to, whatever, and just talk to God and worship him, and
even try to picture him. Sometimes
I
try to do that to keep my mind from wandering about other things.
Mm-hmm.
Dial it in.
I try to picture.
So you're able to image and visualize that and then dial it in. In football, because
it's so easy to let your mind and you don't even realize you're doing it.
And when you get a bunch of people in a room doing that, simultaneously, it's powerful.
You can have a moment.
Yes.
You can have an encounter. When I coached and played football for years, there are a lot of times I would be coaching, and I could almost tell you there was nobody in the stadium other than me and what I was calling, or when I was playing, we'd be on the field and your team's in the huddle, you're back up to the line, you're back to the huddle, and until you scored and somebody ran down and celebrated a little bit, you just didn't even know the cheerleaders were screaming at you over there. Every now and then there'd be a timeout and you go, oh, yeah, there's a lot of people here, but you just kind of have that focus, and because the guy on cross the ball is if you don't focus, he's going to hit you hard. Mm-hmm. I think people, if you've ever played sports or activities, we've got to learn how to spiritually focus on God and get in the game.
And if you don't know who it is that you're trying to focus in on, then it's hard to focus.
That's why it's got to start at home.
Yeah.
Or it's got to, and you've got to be present, and you got to forget about everyone else.
You got to know who God is. Know who God is. Who this person is that you are worshiping.
Right. Is he worthy of your worship is a big question. You have to decide, is God worthy of our intimacy?
You got to decide that
because I think a lot of us go, well, God's gotten a few hours of my time, that's enough, or I gave it a gift last week, so this week I'm just gonna play a game while I'm here. I'm gonna do a little Candy Crush, let my wife get her thing on here at the church.
It's Clash of Clans for me.
Yeah, you've got to decide. Do you know who he is? And is, I guess the question I would say, in your mind, is he worthy?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see that with you because you see the moment as sacred. You call it the moment sacred.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't see it as that. So if they saw it as sacred, they would see it's worthy because it's a holy moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that fits in your DNA, so to speak.
Yeah, and I think it's just a different mentality. It's a different mentality.
So knowing who God is he worthy, is he sacred? Begin this at home, be present, forget about everyone else. And then I guess, I think if you get to that point, you're going to start probably
falling asleep.
Well, you're going to enter into communion with God.
Yeah.
Because as best as you're going to kind of begin to be in a journey, and where God takes you, then who knows?
Yeah.
You just don't know. So I think that's, we haven't, I'll be honest with you, we've had some good advice on that, but I think this is about as good as anything I've seen on the show. So
I don't know.
No, I think forgetting about our else, but we're so easily distracted because of the distractions of the room, people's cell phones.
100%.
Yeah.
But there's peace in his presence, and it's like his peace covers up all those other distractions anyways. It's like,
Right.
so if you can manage to get yourself to a point where it's like, God, it's just me and you, like I am here for you. Yeah, his perfect peace passes all understanding and takes over. And it's like,
Well, I guess if there's one caution I can put out there, by all means, don't be a distraction.
sure.
I mean, if you can't get into it, at least neutralize yourself. Just out of respect for the sacred moment of somebody else.
Sure.
Don't. I talked about this in a teaching this last week, where the Transfiguration, you got Jesus and Elijah and Moses going on, and somewhere in the process, Peter gets nervous and says, "Hey, can I build tabernacles for each of you?" And the moment he says that, the spirit's done, it's over, and the moment ends. It's like he broke it trying to do something human in a moment when communion was taking place. He didn't need to do anything. God was present. If God wanted a tabernacle, he would have put forth a tabernacle. This is a guy that thinks it happens, clap on, clap off, So Peter did what we would do when we don't understand what's going on. He would try to rationalize it, but I think we've got to at least not be a distraction. Peter's best bet would have been to be quiet and just continue to enjoy the moment and live vicariously through them. But he spoke up and wanted to do a human thing, and it broke the moment. I don't know if you can blame it on him completely, but it did break the moment.
Yeah, it's funny how we could do that. I'm guilty of that. all the time.
There are people that
I think God wants to go a certain direction, and I'm like,
but there's people I can be on something and certain thing goes off, or somebody's phone goes off, and it'll break me for a minute, and I can ignore a lot of things. I do really good at that most of the time, but every now and then that thing catches me, or this one catches me. You guys know sometimes the light from the parking lot will catch me, or the thing gets me the most is if I'm hearing people from our foyer out there chatting when we're in the moment or in a worship moment. It fries my brain, because I believe they're also distracting other people. So all of a sudden now I need to get that door closed so I can, because I don't want anybody else to lose the moment, but it causes me to lose the moment.
Yeah.
I tend to be able to go back into it easier because I know who God is, and I've had moment with him, and I'm able to get back, and I'm actually trying to protect it. But I think the last thing I'd say is, be careful. Don't be a distraction.
Yeah.
But golly, know who God is, begin at home, be present, and forget about everyone else.
Which is weird advice as someone who's supposed to be a pastor of sorts, because we're supposed to be shepherding people. We care about people. But I guess what I care about for people is that stop caring about people.
Right.
Stop caring about everybody else in the room.
Right.
Well, I think it's
I want everybody to be able to get to that point where
it's just you and the Lord.
It's free. Yeah.
It's
and that would be number 6. Would be the goal is to walk together in communion. That what you're saying is walk together and have communion, but that's individual. But corporately, the goal is to get everybody in worship, coming into one voice, one accord.
Yeah,
and
like in the Book of Acts.
So it's not that we're not one to pastor them. We're saying don't be a distraction. Come walk with us. And you can't walk with us. You ever seen people walking? They're walking through the parking lot. It's bad today. I about run over people all the time because they come out of the Kroger and they've got their phone right here and they're going right across that crosswalk, assuming I'm going to stop. And I know I'm supposed to, but I'm thinking they should stop. Because I'm also thinking I want to get turned. Well, but they're trusting me to stop, and what they need to do is take that phone down and focus on getting to their car. Then they get in the car. You can look in your phone, but a lot of people are distracted, and so they don't even know you're having communion, and when they look up, the group's gone. Everybody else is in this, and they don't know why. I think a lot of people get caught by that because they're not walking together. They're being a distraction. So if you set that distraction down and you begin to walk, even if you don't get what Ben's doing or somebody else is doing, just vicariously beginning to walk with them, you'll get there. So there's times when you've seen something happening and you see people walking to it. There's something going on. Like there's a fight, or you're at the park and there's this, or there's somebody's got a cute puppy and you see people going over to look at it, and you go over there and then all of a sudden you go, oh, that's what it is. I think we need to come into it like that, but focus with God. So I just think your philosophy you got some good stuff there. So let me wrap up with this for this episode, and we'll get into our last show where we're going to do a little bit of synthesis of everything we've been learning in the last show. As you work through things, you're a pleasure to work with. I just trust you a lot on knowing when you need to extend things or give me room or vice versa. So I won't ask you the question about working with senior pastors, because you work great with your senior pastor. I asked everybody else a question and threw you under the bus, but I really threw you under the bus. You give me plenty of preaching time, and if you don't, I take it anyway. So, or I just know that God's going to use what you did. So I love that. But what would you be coaching out there? What would be your coaching tip to kind of say, okay, the church today needs this to get back in rut? You know, when you're a hunter, the deer run best when they're in rut. When they're in rut, they don't know where they're going. They don't know who's going to shoot them. But if you go try to hunt those bucks before they're in rut, you can't get them. They won't come out of the woods. They won't run. But once they get in season, what would be your coaching tip to get the church to? We need a revival in the church. We need to see the church come back into season. And I realize there's movements and there's cedar sessions and there's different things going on. But if you had your heart's desire today, what would you speak prophetically, maybe to the body, to those listening, to help us get the church, I hate to say it, but back in rut with God, intimately with God, chasing after God, you know, with that desire to have that one-on-one relationship with him?
I think we need to remember who he is. You know, I think we've kind of lost sight of that somewhere along the way, that like he's God. We got to remember who he is, who it is that we're worshiping.
And what he's given.
And fall back in love with him, because
Right.
I think we've fallen in love with ourselves.
Yeah.
Don't you think in some ways we've moved from participant and chaser of God into spectator and almost wanting to watch a stage show, and that's just, I mean, it's one thing, we want you to come and be a part, but I think God wants you more to have the encounter. He wants you to have the relationship. He wants you to have he wants the sacredness to be you taking your shoes off, not you watching Ben take his shoes off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He
wants your worship. Like other guys have said before, other podcasts, he is a jealous God. Like if you're worshiping yourself, which honestly, I think at the end of the day is what is the main idol that gets in most of our ways, is ourselves, you know.
Yeah.
He's worthy. He's worthy of our time.
Yeah.
I don't know that everybody believes when they come to church that he's worthy, but somehow or another they've all come here to give him that time. So when you come and you don't really give him that time, you've really actually wasted your time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you would have a better experience to come and just give that time to God rather than waste that time not getting to God.
Yeah.
The Pharisees and Sadducees, what made Jesus so angry was that he says, you brood of vipers, you've had all this knowledge, you know all these things, but yet your ox is in a ditch and you're not even helping out. You're just explaining why you can't do it today. But the ox is in the ditch. Get it out. You know, you've made all your energy to come here. You got dressed, you dealt with the wife, you dealt with the kids, the screaming, you got through the traffic and the ice. You're here. Just strip off and chase God. You know, strip off the world, and be intimate with God. I'm using that language on purpose, and just have communion. And then hopefully bring him glory. You've come all the way here. Why not get connected? You know?
Yeah. What's the point in coming?
I think a lot of people come obligatory.
Yeah.
They come because
Part of tradition.
expectation.
Yeah. If I give enough, the Lord will bless me.
Yeah. I better come just in case this stuff's real. Well, it's real. I mean, it's real, but it's not real until you have a relationship that's real.
Yeah, it's deeper than you think it is.
Okay, the key word you've used, so many of our people have used, and we'll talk about this a lot more in the last episode, is relationship. Relationship stands for real relationship. So there's a realness to it. There's something concrete. And I think a lot of people come, but they don't understand that when we come to church, it's to have a real relationship. And in your case,
And vulnerable. Which comes right along with the intimacy.
but yours is at the level of not just real relationship. You're saying this is communion. This is sacred. This is holy. So of all relationships that I'm going to have, this one alone is worthy of my praise. It's at the highest. I think that's just a beautiful image. It fits exactly with how you lead. And I think the church needs a revival of that today. So we're going to get back more, Ben, just wonderful thing. We're going to have Ben here do a song at the end. He's got one that's recorded. What's the song again you're going to be doing?
It's called Have Have Your Way.
Have Your Way.
It's one you wrote.
Heaven Invade.
You're struggling with your own name for your own song?
Have Your Way, Heaven Invade.
Okay, Have Your Way. And it's written by you and recorded at Crown Brew?
Correct.
That's right.
By Lucas Winkler.
By Lucas Winkler. Cool.
And Lucas also helped write the song, too.
He helped write the song.
Yeah.
Lucas, and did you do the production on it, Lucas?
Just the audio.
Just audio. Fantastic. So these guys are going to share that afterwards. So stay online and listen to that. And then we'll be back for part 26 of this Worship Leader Southern Illinois series. We're in a 3-part sub-series. It's the last of 9 leaders. Ben and I will be talking not just about the final questions we have for the series, but we're going to wrap up kind of a look at all the worship leaders and make some comments on that. You do not want to miss this wrap up Rubber Hits the Pavement series. And we hope to come back with you real soon for 27, 28, and 29 and do something really spectacular to wrap up this whole thing. We're working on that now and we'll tell you more about it. Watch out for that. So you're on the dock with Pastor Troy on thedock.org. Go find out all of our stuff, all of our platforms, all of our links. You can email us at info@onthedock.org and get us on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. Please put that out to your network and to your friends and different groups and get them connected. And Google Play, Facebook, Roku, Rumble, and SermonNet. Other platforms available, but we really like those first 3. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter. We'd love to hear social media comments, share a little bit more with things, and hit subscribe, like, notify, and just tell everybody all about it and get them connected. We'll put in the show notes of this. We'll have the show notes, hopefully some links to get to the Cedar Sessions site where you can find more about what they're doing with Cedar Sessions and also Facebook connections to that as well, so you can follow and track what music they're doing. Go to Patreon site. We'd love to have you as a partner or sponsor of the next show. And Ben and I both pastor at Community Faith Church. We'd love to have you come out 10 o'clock on Sundays, 6:30 on Wednesdays, and come here, Ben, lead worship, right? Mm-hmm. Come here. And then you can stay for me if you want. But check it out. We got lots of platforms, and you can go right now online, COITV.com, and go listen to him lead worship on any of our archived episodes. So we hope you enjoy that. Get ready as we go out of here on this episode. We'll be back for the wrap-up of this part of this huge super series. But right now, as we go out, check out Mr. Ben Ottolini as he shares a special worship piece with you. We'll see you soon.
Lord, we are here to pour out our hearts, to say that you're worthy of all that we are. And Father, we've come to see your face, and we need your kingdom to come and invade. And we just caught a glimpse of the things you can do, and you're just getting started to move. So open the doors, fling wide the gates, 'cause we are ready for you. So heaven invade here and now, move in this place, 'cause we belong in your presence. So come on and have your way. Give us clean hands and give us pure hearts, Jesus, 'cause we want to see you for all that you are. Yeah. And we just caught a glimpse of the things you can do, and we're desperate for you to break through. So open the doors, fling wide the gates, 'cause we are ready for you, Lord. So heaven invade here and now, move in this place, 'cause we belong in your presence. So come on and open the doors, wide the gates, 'cause we are hearts will be changed, and chains fall away when you move. There is freedom, healing, and breakthrough, 'cause nothing's too big for you, Lord. In your presence, hearts will be changed, and chains fall away when you move. And there is freedom, healing, and breakthrough, 'cause nothing's too big for you, Lord. In your presence, hearts will be changed, and chains fall away when you move. And there is freedom and healing and breakthrough, 'cause nothing's too big for you, Lord. So open the doors, fling wide the gates, 'cause we are ready for you. So heaven invade here and now. Come and move in this place, 'cause we belong in your presence. So come on and open the doors and fling wide the gates, 'cause we are ready for you. So heaven invade here and now. Move in this place. We belong in your presence. So come on and have your way. Ooh, oh, yeah. You have your way. Yeah.